What is up, y'all? Today we are talking product photography and how you can use an RGB light like this to up the style of your product images. I was recently contacted by Falconeyes, the manufacturers of this little light, and they asked if I wanted to make a video about it and show you guys what it can do. Full disclaimer, they sent me this light for free. They haven't paid me anything to say anything in this video, so these are all my personal opinions about this light. Fortunately, it's a really great piece of equipment, so I have no hesitation in recommending it to you guys. First off, let's just take a little bit of a look at the light. We got a nice metal construction here on this, so that makes it for a really heavy unit. It's about the size of a cell phone and nice and slim. Really simple interface. Basically, we've got two little dials on the side and an on-off button here. And we can use those dials to switch between the different modes of the light, controlling the intensity and the color, all those sorts of things. On the top, we have a USB-C port. This allows us to charge the light as well as run the light off of a power source continuously. One thing to note when you're running off of a plug is you can only have it at 70% intensity. I'm not quite sure why that is, but just something worth noting. And if you're running it off the battery, you get about 2.5 hours of battery life when you're in RGB mode and about 2 hours of battery life when you're just running it as a basic daylight sort of light. There's an LCD screen on the back that tells you everything that's going on, tells you how much of a charge you have left. And we've got a quarter 20 port on the bottom. Comes with this little magic arm. It's kind of nice. Lets you attach this onto like a light stand or something like that. The other thing that comes with this is if you buy the right kit, you get a diffuser and you also get a grid. So these can add a little bit more flexibility to how you're actually able to use this light. When we're actually running the light here, we've got the power button on the side, which we can turn on. And right now we're in the HSI mode, so that's hue, saturation, and intensity. And we can click in and we can go through the different colors. You can see it's got the full spectrum. And on the back, we've got a little chart here that just indicates what degree you need to be in for a specific color. And then from there, we can click this button again. We can change the saturation, so we can crank it from basically white all the way up to a very saturated version of that color. And then we also have another dial here that controls the intensity. We can go all the way from 0 up to 100%, and this light is real bright. We can hit the power button once, and that switches us into what they call scene mode. Scene mode gives you different preset scenes. So right now I'm in television mode. So this is like if you wanted a television in the back of your room sort of flickering. They've got a number of different modes in here. I'll just scroll through a couple of them here. I thought like this one's kind of nice. It's like fire truck. So you might use this if you're making a short film or something like that. The one thing that it is lacking is any ability to set your own custom profiles for this. So you're just stuck with what comes with the light. But there's some useful ones in there that might come in handy at some point for a music video or something like that. The other mode you can go into is the color temperature mode. And so from this, you can go all the way from 2500 Kelvin. You can crank that all the way up to, I believe, 9000 Kelvin and have a very white light. So it's a really nice, small, compact package that gives you a lot of power. I've been wanting to add one of these to my kit for a while, so pretty stoked to be working with this light. If you're interested in checking more out about this light, there is a link down in the description below to an Amazon page. If you purchase through that link, it does give me a little bit of a kickback at no cost to you. I appreciate that. It helps support the channel. But let's get into the actual lighting setup that I'm using on just a mock product photography shoot. So I've got a water bottle set up over here and a little set built around that I'll walk you through and show you how this light can add a little extra style to a shoot like this. Okay, here is the super simple setup. It's nothing fancy. I just put it together for this video. But basically what we have here is a foam core bottom that's black. We've got a piece of poster board along the back to give us a sort of seamless background, and that's just held by a light stand, and then it curves under the product. We've got our product sitting here in the middle, which is a stainless steel water bottle. And this actually turns out to be somewhat of a challenging object to shoot because it's reflective and it's shiny. And so in order to control what's reflecting on this object, I brought in these two pieces of foam core. They're just white, and they're acting as two purposes. They're a bounce, and then they're also excluding light that we don't want in the scene and reflections that we don't want in the scene. And so I've got these evenly distributed on both sides of the object, and they're gonna reflect all of our light around to make a nice looking soft light. As our key light, we're using the Aperture 672S. This is a light panel, and so it's made up of a number of small LEDs, and this will give us rather unusual shadows if we cast it directly on our subject. And so instead of pointing it at the object, we're actually using these bounces to reflect the light back and give us a nice soft uniform light source. On top of that, we've got one more bounce down here. This is just a piece of poster board that is reflecting some light back and also excluding some weird reflections coming up on the bottle itself. On the top, we have a piece of foam core, just a black piece acting as a flag. And this is ensuring that we're able to exclude how much of this light is coming in. I want kind of a moody image. And so I'm actually cutting this off so that the only light that's coming in is bouncing here and going down. We're not getting any direct from the top light. And this is making sure that the background isn't overlit, as well as the ground below the object is not overlit. I want to make sure that it's sort of isolated in that way. So this just lets us control that light a little bit. We're set up with the GH5. We're at f12, 0.6 of a second. It's a fairly dark scene, so we need a little bit of a longer exposure. We're at 25 millimeters right now, 50 millimeter equivalent on a full frame. What we'll do now is I'll turn off the lights for the YouTube video so that you can actually see what's going on in the scene here. And then we'll turn on our one key light. First thing, let's take apart the scene so you can see how we build this up to get the type of image that we're looking for. So here's our scene with just the overhead light turned on and our backdrop. We also have our front bounce here giving us a little bit of light, just appearing just on the front of the object here. But really, we need more light in there, and we need to fill in the sides. And so our first step is to bring in the two bounce cards, something like that, to fill that object in, really make it fully illuminated and get that nice soft light. Now, I don't love how there's the reflection on the top of the bottle, and so that's where I bring in this top flag. And so we just have to kind of move that in until we get the right amount of reflection. So something roughly like that looks pretty good. We can take a shot of this so you can get a little bit of an idea what we're starting with as a base of this scene. And you know, it produces a nice image. Let's say we want to up the style a little bit, and let's turn on that backlight. So the really neat thing about this small light is it's tiny, and it's actually right here behind the water bottle. This is our first basic setup. For this one, I just put on a nice blue light. It kind of felt like water to me. Let's jump into a different color temperature. So I'm gonna make it something that's maybe something on the more red spectrum, just to give us a different look. Something maybe like that. Kind of gives us a different feel and has a nice look to it too. So it depends on the product that you're doing. And then the final thing that we can try is we can crank down that saturation, and we'll get a bit more of a whiter light source then. It's just kind of a nice clean bluish tones. So it's really nice that this light is so small and you can actually hide it in the scene like this. From here, I'll take these images onto the computer and do a little bit of processing in Lightroom just to clean them up and make them a little bit more of a presentable final product. There you go, a simple way to spice up the style of your product shots. You know, keep in mind, you're not always going to want to do this for all product photography. Sometimes you want a really clean image against a white or a black background, no extra color, so that customers can really see what a product looks like. But when you need that little extra spice, this is a fun way to do it that's super simple. Hope that was helpful. If you've got any questions, drop them down in the comments below. But until the next video, get out there, make something beautiful, and I'll see y'all soon. Peace.